call is really to help you. So if you have questions, feel free to throw it in the chat. Feel free to unmute and ask a question. I just want to make sure we're all comfortable and understand they're all and are all on the same page with this program. So we're covering Daily Horizons. It shouldn't be too long of a call, but I want to make sure we're all together on this. First, just to be transparent, right? At the beginning of the season, I was like, hey, you know, I said to the MTL team, this is going to be kind of an optional program. It's not something we have to really focus on as much. But being fully transparent, since that conversation, we've been signed up for about 8 corporate visits where they're going to be looking at this during each visit. So because it's so important to corporate and it's this new program that those officers are going to look at when they're in the stores with us, I think it's important that we just pause for a moment and be clear around the expectations and make sure we're on the same page with it. So when you dig into it, it looks like it's a lot of information because there's a lot of different names for it and it can kind of be overwhelming. But I promise you, you're probably already doing everything already in this program. It just kind of simplifies it and gives it a couple days of what we're looking at each day. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick, and I'm going to walk through Daily Horizons and what it looks like from your guys' perspective. So I made a Teams chat, and everyone will have access to this Teams chat. I'm just finalizing making it, but you'll be able to see the concept here in just a moment. So I went ahead and I added all the MTLs and TLs to it. We'll have the ATLs included as well. I just have to go through and manually add them all and haven't gotten that far. But when you go into Microsoft Teams, it's on every computer in the offices. You guys have access to it on your cell phone at home. You can access it. I don't care if you do the Daily Horizons on your phone even, but this is what your Teams page should look like. And you may be part of multiple teams, or you might only be part of one. But the team that I created for us is the 44727 MTLTL. I'm going to throw everyone on that team. And the way that it works is there's a Files tab on that Teams page. And if you need help with this, partner with your leader, partner with me. We can slow it down and walk through it. I'm also recording it. So when you go to the Files page, there are a couple folders, and feel free to check out what's on there. We have some recordings of some important calls, some hiring charts and stuff, a couple daily checklists that we've made in the past that you can feel free to use. But the big one and the important one is this the block beats page here. So when you go into block beats, it's broken down into 3 different elements. There's 3 parts of what these block beats are. One is the Daily Horizons form, and what that is, and we'll go into it in a minute, but what that is it's just a sheet that the ATL and MTL is supposed to fill out every day that you're working. I don't want you to do this 7 days a week. If you're off for the day, don't worry about it. If you're working that day, if it's a Monday and you're working, you'll click into this form, and we'll do it together in a moment. But you'll click into a form and just kind of answer questions about generally how your office looks and where you feel like you stand on that day. That's all that the Daily Horizons is. The scheduled support visit, that's something for the MTLs and me, and that's just a form that you fill out when you do an office visit. So each time you do an office visit, it kind of gives you some structure. You don't even necessarily need to fill it out when you're in the office. I just ask that you fill it out at some point for each visit that you do. And the reason being is these Daily Horizon forms will ask you what some of your bigger opportunities are, and these scheduled support visits will ask you some opportunities, and it all feeds into a bigger display. So I, at the district level, can log in and say, oh, okay, schedule readiness is the biggest opportunity in the district, and this is what people are working on. So it's really just to get all that data from everybody and see where we are. And then my boss at the region level can look and say, okay, here's the biggest opportunities for the region in the different districts to see where they are. So we'll go through both of those. And then lastly, there's Tactical Tuesday. All that is once a week on Tuesday, you're supposed to log in. It's an Excel sheet, and you just kind of go through some information to make sure you know where you are. So that's all of the elements. The only things that the ATL would do would be that Daily Horizons survey that we're about to go through, and the Tactical Tuesday sheet that you can go through, and your MTL can help you with that as well. The MTL, in addition to that, will just do those scheduled support visits whenever you visit an office. Any questions so far, or is that pretty straightforward?
Tyler, I did have a question.
Sure.
Am I supposed to keep a printout copy of this, or I've been saving my email that comes back as a confirmation?
Yeah, no.
Am I going to need to look at it for a whole week to do my Tuesday stuff?
Nope, we'll walk through it all together now. So
Okay.
you don't need to save anything, and that's why I put it on the Teams like this.
Okay.
Because when you go into anything on Teams and update it, it automatically saves in there, and you can exit out, and it'll be saved. And then the next week, you'll go in and overwrite the previous Tuesday's Tactical Tuesday. So there's no need to save anything anywhere. It's all going to be saved on the network where anyone can access it in this folder on Teams. Daily Horizons. As soon as you hit submit on that Daily Horizons form, it automatically will feed into that bigger dashboard, which is the main purpose of it. So you're good to go. And then when you put in your MTL or your district manager's email, they'll get a copy of it as well. So no need to save anything unless you want to. Any other questions so far? Just want to make sure we're.
You said that if we're not in the office, we don't have to do it. I can't be in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I have my 2-year-old at home and we're still dealing with. So
don't worry about it those days then. Not a problem. You have to balance that work-life balance and work it. I'm not trying to make someone try to struggle about logging in on a day off to hit a compliance report. If you're working for the day, I ask that you do a Daily Horizons. If you're off, don't worry about it. And in your case, if you can't work Tuesdays, you can fill out the Tactical Tuesday form on Wednesday. As long as you do it once a week, I'm not worried about it. And what's cool is I'll be able to see when it's last updated. So as long as it wasn't last updated like 4 weeks ago, then you're fine. As long as you're updating it each week, you should be good to go. Does that make sense? Okay. So first, let's look at Daily Horizons. And if one of the MTLs could let me know if any questions pop in the chat, because the way I'm sharing my screen, I'm not able to see it. So feel free to come off mute if anyone has any questions or if anyone sees anything in the chat. So when you go, and I'll go again how to get here, right? So you click on there, you'll be part of this team. You hit General, you hit Files, and you'll see Block Beats. So when you go into Block Beats, first let's start with the Daily Horizons, right? That's done every day. So the actual link to Daily Horizons form, this is the link you click on, and it'll open up what this form looks like. And I want to be clear, this really shouldn't take you a long time. You might have to control click to open the link, or you can copy and paste in your browser, whatever works for you. But this form should not take a long time. I don't want this to be like hours of your day. This isn't a fix all the problems. It's just to identify the problems. So first you pick which market. Everyone on this call is an East market. Then you pick the region. Everyone here is in Mid-Atlantic. And those two should automatically fill out for you. Then it says pick your district. So if you're in Chesapeake District, that's 44727. If you're in Newport News, that'd be 44111. Please enter the email address of your leader. So if you're an ATL, you put your MTL's address there. If you're an MTL in either district, please put mine, which is tyler.busby@hrblock.com. You put the office number into that question number 5. That was actually, we put that feedback. I think Gabby gave me that feedback a couple days ago. There was no office number, so I requested that up, and they've already added it, which is great. Then it says, how much time do you have today to execute on what you find? No one's going to be tracking how much time you have, right? This is just for your knowledge. If you've got an hour of time that you can set aside in the morning to fix issues, put an hour. If you've got 30 minutes, just put what you have. My ask is, and I always think of the quote, a good leader doesn't find time, they make time. I ask that you take that first hour of your day and block out everything so that you can focus on the priorities of what needs to happen around SOPs. Because if you do that, I promise you'll get more returns than ever before. So I was talking to a peer the other day, and I was saying I use the analogy. Sometimes I walk into offices and I feel like an ATL or an MTL is their house is on fire and they're watering the grass that's on fire. Focus on the house or the big thing that's the issue. And if you fix your SOP issues, it'll fix all the little issues. So spend that first 30 minutes to an hour just fixing issues and SOPs and make sure you're aligned to that scorecard that I'll be sending out, and you'll be in good shape. So then it says schedule readiness. I don't want you to be super focused on fixing the issues. Just overall, are you in a good shape with Daisy, or do you have some items to address, or do you really have some opportunities? Answer the question, right? Virtual review. How's your virtual percentage look? Check the box. WIP. How does it look? Are you in great shape? Do you have opportunity? Right? You know these things off the top of your head. It shouldn't be a long thing. Look if you have to, but it doesn't have to be like this. You go in and answer every single message in Work Center kind of thing. It's just how are you generally there, and do you need to spend time there? That's the whole thought process. It's very high level. Do you have problems with service quality? Do you have problems with ICQ? How do you feel about small business? after completing the full assessment, where's your biggest opportunity? And then now that you're complete, which actions do you need to take today? So it's just kind of to wrap your mind around where you are each day. Shouldn't really only take a couple minutes to 30 minutes at the most. Fill it out, submit it. If you do that, you'll be compliant with all of the Daily Horizons tracking, and you'll be in good shape. And really, it's so we can see at the district level where the biggest opportunities are and where we can spend time on visits and things like that. You hit submit, it's submitted, and you're good to go. You'll get a receipt to your email of what you filled out, and so you can review it as well. Any questions around that? Is that pretty straightforward? Totally a safe space if you have any questions or concerns at this moment. Okay. To make it as easy as possible, in this same chat where you have the link for Daily Horizons, you also have if you need help filling it out. And this breaks down where all of the reporting for all of the numbers are with links. So there's the link for the Daily Horizons. Here's where you can find all your information, your appointment manager, your work center, your CES scores. And if you go through this process, I would recommend going through it once or twice, at least once or twice, so you know where everything is and kind of know what you need to do as far as planning. But I don't want this to be overwhelming, right? The whole point of the Daily Horizons form isn't to fix all the issues, it's just to know overall where your performance is. But it has links on it where everything is and can give you a really good structure, especially if you're a new MTL or ATL or TL. You can really spend some time here to find all the answers. The only note I put on here is Nexidia around inbound call quality. Right now, no one has access to it because it's updating, so you're not going to be able to get a secure answer there until that system's updated. And then once it does, if you have any questions, let me know. So that's what the Daily Horizons is, right? Daily form that you fill out, generally just how your office looks and what your biggest opportunities are. You do that every day that you're working. The Tactical Tuesday, this you fill out every Tuesday. And to make it easy, you don't need to save anything. I'm still building this out for both districts. I finished Chesapeake just before this call, but I put an sheet in here for each office. So if you're an ATL or a TL or an MTL, whichever your home office is, you come into here, click on an office. Then once it loads here, this is the one you look at each Tuesday. And it has each week on the bottom here. So, we'd start with next week, January 11th. And you simply put, what did you prioritize last week? Are you able to execute your daily plan? This is where you just kind of make a plan each week around your results to say what you need to focus on. So you can see where you are with your 7-day trend on returns, with clients, with revenue, with productivity, everything that's on the scorecard. I am going to be sending a scorecard out every other day or every day to the MTLs, and you can share that with your TLs and ATLs that will have all this information for you, so you won't even have to look it up anyways. But that being said, all of these links and how to get them are also on that sheet we were looking at just a moment ago in the Daily Horizons sheet, where it breaks down how to find all of this. So it should be all relatively easy. You just put the information and kind of your notes on where there's opportunities. And then it says, okay, what do you need to focus on this week? And then you fill that out. I think everyone's going to like this part where it says weekly planning. You can completely ignore this entire blue part here. You don't have to do anything here. We're using Outlook. I recommend you use your Outlook. Whenever we have calls or anything, I'll put it on your Outlook. You don't need to use this blue space, and I cleared that with Dan in corporate before I sent out that message. So don't worry about putting anything here. Just use your Outlook calendar like you normally would to schedule visits or calls or whatever else you need to do. And then lastly, what support you need. So you can put whatever support you need from your leader here and have conversations around how you need to achieve things and talk about it with one-on-ones with your MTL. So you just fill this out each Tuesday, or if you're off on Tuesdays, right? Each Wednesday, able to.
Okay.
And then you'll be good to go. Any questions about that?
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah.
I don't understand the 7-day trend. Is that what we're projecting?
Then you can schedule.
So
like
if you go to, I'll show you really quick. Well, there's too many tabs. 1 second. So if you go into the hub, and let me turn off my camera because it'll load a lot faster so I can show you guys. Oh, hold on 1 second. Share screen, turn off. Come on. Turn off camera. There you go. Can you guys still see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so when you go into the reporting, and I'm gonna, for my MTLs and TLs, I'm gonna walk you through the new reporting that just updated on next Tuesday's call, so you know where everything is. So don't stress. I know they changed a lot of the dashboards, and you can go through it with your ATLs. But say we're looking at, let's look at 1 second, client growth, right? Any of these ones that say archive have all the information. So instead of looking at the dashboard, I recommend just looking at the archives. So client growth archive. Where you can really drill down is these top lines here. So if you want to look at our district, right, you'd hit our district. And then where it says custom date range, you just want to pick a 7-day trend. So if today you click this little box where it says custom date range and it says is any time. And then you scroll down where it says in the last, and you can say 7 days. Can you guys see that? I don't know if Teams is sharing it, but can you see where it says is in the last 7 days?
Yes.
Yep.
And then you hit the little blue refresh button and that'll give you a 7-day trend. The other thing you can do is you can also say in the range, which is what I usually do. And then you can pick like, okay, tax season started on the 4th, today's the 6th. So from the 4th to the 6th, there's the results that'll load for it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then if and then when you're looking at those results here, of course, it's not loading because we're on Teams. If you drill down, so there's a little caret right here that you can hit, right, and drill down. And then there's a little here next to the district. And then you can hit the office return detail. That'll go to the office number instead of the whole district. And then you just do the same filters. You can see by office, all those.
Tyler, Nancy had a question on the chat.
Sure. What was the-
Nancy? Hey, Nancy, it says what is meant by talent?
And by talent. On there, yes.
All right, where are we looking? Help me out
On
here.
the results review, the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th column over says talent.
So honestly, not sure. They haven't really explained that. What I would say is make that about your people. Like if your returns, say you have one person who drives 80% of your returns in that office, I would probably put who's there or what's driving it so you can focus on them. That hasn't been broken down or explained. Has anyone seen anything breaking that down or explaining it? My guess is it's about your people. So put whoever's impacting it or who you need to impact it. Like if I, as the DGM, if I'm trying to drive return growth, I know that, 80% of my returns are through 4 offices. I'd probably focus on those 4 MTLs to move it. If you're an ATL in an office, you probably know that 3 actual tax pros can move it. So that's who I would put as your talent and who I'd focus on. That's just a guess, though. They haven't explained what that meant yet, and there might be more to come out around that. But that's how I interpret it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Like I said, this is really for just to give structure to a one-on-one each week with your direct leader. For the MTLs, I'll review these where there's opportunities and things, but my main structure for our one-on-ones are going to be the same, and I've done those with, I think everyone at this point has been through at least one-on-one with me, and you've kind of gotten a taste of how that goes, and then we'll really factor and focus on the scorecard as we have more results as well. So that's the Tactical Tuesday. Any questions about that before I move on? And I know this is a lot of information, right? It's totally a safe space. If you have questions later on, feel free to text me or your leader, call me, set up a call, and we can go through something individually if you want to. I'm thinking we might just make a video of us filling out one of each of these completely and where to get the information. That way you have that resource as a resource. But this is the general how it works. Lastly, you have the scheduled support visits, and this just goes for MTLs as you're visiting other offices, and I'll do the same as I visit offices. We had a form that we used last tax season for some offices. It's very similar, but this one's from corporate. So we'll just go through it, right? You put your same thing, which office and district, and then you enter the email address for whichever leader you want to that you're actually visiting. So say I am visiting Joy in one of her offices, I would put Joy's name. If Joy was visiting her ATL Tanya, she would put Tanya's email there. That way they get a copy of the action items. Then you would enter the name, because it actually makes a script, and I'll show you one because we did one earlier today. So you put the person's name that you want, how you want it to appear, what date you visited the office, you know, was it in person or virtually? What's your role? Please enter, and then it goes down to the SOPs. So simply, how are you on returns to guidance? How are you on virtual percentage? How are you on service quality? How are you on inbound call quality? All of that information that's in the hub. I'll show the MTL and TL team how to get all that information accurately tomorrow. The dashboards were just launched this morning. So 1 second. And I would recommend that you ignore the goal. These goals are a good guideline and a good post here, but I'm actually going to fill out that scorecard I'm sending you will have the actual targets, because I want you guys to max bonus. So the goals that you get will be based off maxing your bonus and maxing the IPP for our tax pros. So they'll probably be a little bit higher because we're shooting for the stars there. So if the goals are like, man, these are tough goals, it's just because I'm trying to push you to max the amount of money that you can take home. So you pick which area you spend the most time talking about as well, and that'll categorize it. And then you write any observations you saw and any follow-up, what actions they need to take, and what moments of recognitions and items to celebrate. The MTL version may be a little bit differently. I think I filled one out on a visit earlier today that was a little bit different, but really it gives you a nice, concise message of what that looks like. Let me pull up here real quick what one looks like so you can see. Give me just a second. Nope, that's not it. So I'll forward the email or share it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is what it looks like. So we did one for Barb, and it says, hey, thank you so much for your time today during the visit. Here's the results, and it breaks down. Here's your returns versus guidance for your virtual, your inbound and call quality, your WIP, your score, service quality, schedule readiness, small business. After we talked, here's what you should focus on. Here's how we'll support you. Here's the next visit. So it breaks it all down for that leader, just to show them like, hey, here's the structured visit that we just had and what it looks like. You don't have to send anything to me when you do it, as long as you put my name in it. If you're an MTL, I'll get a copy of it as well. And then if you're visiting the actual office, make sure you put that ATL's name so they get all that information. So just to recap, and then we'll open it up for questions, right? You have the Daily Horizons form in here that has to be done every day. That's the biggest thing. And then if you need help, there's the sheet that walks you through piece by piece. Like I said, you don't really have to drill down that far, though. Really, it's just the kind of how do you feel about your office today and where do you need to focus. You have the scheduled support visits for MTLs and for the MTLs, which you just click the link and answer the questions each visit. And then you have the Tactical Tuesday, which everyone does each Tuesday or at least once a week. You'll just click into your actual office. And then on the bottom, each week has a sheet. So January 11th, January 18th, each week has its own sheet, so you don't have to overwrite anything. And you'll just fill in where your generic results are for that week. And to be clear, next week for the MTLs and TLs, I'm going to go through and show you where to find all this information, because I know all the scorecards just updated, so I'm not expecting anything crazy now. But I'll show you where to get all of the information so that it's very clear. So I know that was kind of a lot of information. but I tried to put it all in one spot for you guys with the links to where everything is. Also, Melissa, your kid is adorable. Any questions around any of that? Does that make sense? Is that easy? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts or feedback. Anything?
I did fill out the Daily Horizons, and I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The Practical Tuesday was a little bit more confusing, so I'm going to need some practice on that, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not expecting everyone to be an expert on it at once. It's really just, it's the company making sure that you're looking at everything that's important to them. And that way, you know, each week if you're on the right track, right? Tax day is only a little over 100 days. So it's just making sure we're focused on the right things. Your leader can help you there. And I'm really going to spend time on Tuesday next week to go over it with our MTLs and TLs to make sure that they're comfortable and know how to get all that information. But I want to just be really clear too. Hold on, let me pull something up just because I want to make sure we're on the same page. Let me see if I can share really quick. Okay, can you guys see? Let me see. Trying to zoom in here for you. Maybe. It's not going to let me zoom in, but can you guys see this little scorecard here? It has each MTL on it and TL on it, and it just, this is what I sent out to the Chesapeake team today, and I'll have Newport News as early as tomorrow. This is how I'm going to track it and what I'm really focused on, right? The company, the Tactical Tuesdays has a lot of stuff. We're chasing 1 million initiatives. There's a lot of stuff going on. To be clear, this is all I care about. This is what I'm looking at. This is how I'm determining if people exceed expectations, raises, bonuses, all of that all comes down to this. These are the things that drive your P&L and really matter out of all of the metrics, right? So all I'm looking at, and this is what I'm looking at every day, where are you to returns versus your goal? Where are you as far as customer engagement surveys, the surveys your customers fill out? Where are you to attach rate? Where are you to your virtual percentage? And where are you with small business returns to where you need to be? And then I'll also send each office and where they are to those things. So you can see where each one is to their returns, where everyone is with their CES, where their attach rate is, small business and everything. And I'll send this to the MTLs and TLs each day. And I recommend that you share that with your ATLs as well. And I'll do that each month, and each month. So January, it'll be a tally for all of January. February will start over, March will start over, and it'll just be to the goals. And the CES goal will be 90%. That's where we max bonus. Attach rate, 120%. It's like 2% higher than we had last year. And if we do that, it's equivalent to like over $1 million in revenue. Virtual, that says 10%, it should be 40%. 40% is where you max IPP and bonus for you and your tax pros for virtual. So that's where that focus will be. And then small business is different for each office depending on their office goals. So the variance you see here, I know we're only on 2 days of data, but Victory Crossing, for example, they had one last year, so they were budgeted one at this time of year and they're down one. Everyone else isn't budgeted any yet, so they're all at 0, but they're green because they don't need to hit any. So I'll send this to you very regularly, and you can see where you are to the scorecard. And this is what I'm focused on more than any of the Daily Horizon stuff. But the Daily Horizon stuff feeds into this and drives these results. So just wanted to make sure that's clear and that you guys will have a lot of the numbers and know where the focus is. The Daily Horizons is just to help support you and make sure you're looking at the SOPs and what drives that other stuff. Make sense? Okay. Thank you guys so much for your time. If you have any questions, please let me know. 6 o'clock, we're going to have a call around work from anywhere. Please invite your tax pros to that. I invited like 4 districts to it because a lot of other districts wanted to be part of it, and it wouldn't let me send an invite to that many people. I couldn't have that many people on. So I've sent it in the Teams chat, and I've sent it to each of the MTLs and TLs before this call. Please just make sure your people have an invite. We're going to go over how to actually turn on Ready to Serve for your computer and how to use it and do returns from home with it. Everyone in both all of Newport News and all of Chesapeake have been turned on by Dawn to be able to already use Ready to Serve. And when you think of these offices, what I hear over and over again right this year, because of the job market and all the COVID and the craziness, I keep hearing we don't have enough staff or we don't have enough coverage. Work from Anywhere is a great tool where someone on their day off can clock in and do a return in 20 minutes and clock out and be at home for the rest of the day. And your CSP takes it in as a drop off and hands it to them. And that way you don't lose returns. And so it's just an easy thing to do. Last thing I'll plug is please make sure you're getting paid for all the time you work. Track this as worked. Anytime you're on a call or anything, want to make sure everyone's being paid for their time. So make sure you put in that timekeeping app that you were on for this hour or whatever, so that you get paid. Thanks, guys. Any questions before I wrap it? Related to this, related to anything, here to help. Any thoughts or anyone need anything at all at the moment?
Any news on Kronos?
Nope. What it's so just to be clear on Kronos, for anyone that hasn't heard, right? They're literally being held like hostage digitally from another company. It's not just H&R Block. They're the biggest retail timekeeping app ever, right? The last 3 companies I worked at used Kronos, and luckily H&R Block got on the ball and released an app like very soon compared to some others so that we can at least track time. There are several companies that aren't paying their associates and trying to still figure out how to track time. It's crazy. I've heard some horror stories from some peers I used to work with. So make sure that your people are tracking their time through that timekeeping app. If you have corrections, you can still enter them in the form that was emailed out. If you need help or want to know what anything about it, email me and I can email a corporate partner around it and they can tell us what you've clocked, what information you need, and we can make sure that you get the info. Any other questions? Anything else on anybody's mind before we wrap? Awesome. If you have a 0 office, please work through WIP and try to get off the 0 list. Corporates like bounty hunters with those offices. So I'd appreciate it if we could all get at least 1 return, and really appreciate all the hard work everyone's doing. I know we're in like this crazy COVID's blown up again time. I know a lot of the programs aren't working. I know Newport News, we're in this weird like France temporarily out and I'm helping, and that's always difficult. So I'm here for you if you need anything. CC, I saw you said if wallet money is going to be released. So there is a form. Give me 1 second. There is wallet money's already out. Code 7's already out. The way to unlock it is for them to do one of those Horizon Hero forms. They fill that out and then they have access to it. So I'll share the link with that in the chat really quick. Second. Was just on a call talking about this, so I know I have it here. So I'll throw that in the chat. If your people don't have Code 7 or MyBucks or wallet yet, just have them fill out this form. The way it's supposed to work is you're supposed to fill it out with them to verify that they're good to work in the office this year, and it goes over some virtual tools. Great time to talk about virtual, and customer service is our #1 priority and all that kind of stuff. Anything else? All right, I'm gonna make this a private YouTube channel. It means no one else and that has public access to YouTube can watch it, but I'll send you the YouTube link so you can share it with any of your ATLs that mixed. Thanks, guys. Let me know if you need anything. Talk to you later. Bye.